Now let's look at the best place to do an interview. Of course, if you want a good interview technically, then the best place is the studio. But that might not give you the atmosphere that you're looking for. It may be that you want to go on location to a person's home or to their workplace, or possibly to the place where the action's taking place, like a sporting stadium, for instance. But be aware that there are certain pitfalls if you go to these places. If you're outside, listen out for all the background noise that's going on. Is it going to make your editing difficult? Listen to this example and you'll see what I mean.
I am, yes. People can contact me at any time of the day, during office hours as well. And my contact numbers are 021 788 992, or they can email me at linbaker@worldonline.
If you do an interview indoors, be aware of some of the pitfalls there. For instance, is there a ticking clock in the background or a clock that's going to chime on the hour? Is there a refrigerator switching on and off? Or is there a telephone that may ring? Sorry, but I'm busy. Bye. Be aware of these distractions because when you come to editing, it might be quite difficult if you've got these noises going on in the background. The second thing you need to be aware of is the acoustics of the room. Is it an office like this with lots of hard surfaces, or the kitchen? If it is, try to avoid that because the sound will be very echoey. The best place to do an interview is in somewhere with soft furnishings like the lounge, where there's a carpet and a settee, because that way you'll get a much nicer, more mellow sound. But what do you do if your interviewee can't come to you in the studio and you can't go to them because perhaps they live in another town or even another country? Well then, there's the option of the telephone interview. But you need to be aware of two things if you do a telephone interview. First of all, make sure you have a good line so that the listener will be able to hear the interviewee clearly. And secondly, be aware of the balance between you in the studio and your interviewee so that it doesn't sound too peculiar. Okay, now let's go on to look at how long should an interview last.
It will need to fit in the time slot that's needed, as long as it is interesting.
Yes, that's right. The program that the interview has to go into will determine the length of the interview. It may be that you just want a short 1-minute interview, for instance, or possibly 15 to 20 minutes. And of course you need to be aware of the slot that's allocated to the interview before you go out and do it. Now, if the slot that your interview is to fit into is, say, 3 minutes long, don't record material more than 7 or 8 minutes, because otherwise if you record more, say 10, 15, even 20 minutes, which people have done, then it makes editing really difficult to try and cut so much material down to 3 minutes. So that's how you can keep an interview to the right time for the slot that it's allocated for. But of course the most important thing about an interview is that it's interesting. And so you must be certain that even if it's exactly the right length, that it's also interesting for that time.